HTH is proud to be fueled by BioSteel, produced locally in Windsor, Ontario. Zero sugar hydration, no artificial additives, performance focused, trusted by athletes with eco-friendly packaging. Visit biosteel.ca and use the promo code CRISPYHTH, all caps, to save 20% off your order. That's CRISPYHTH to save 20% on biosteel.ca. What's going on, all beauties and beauties? Welcome to the Hat-Trick Hockey Podcast, brought to you by GL Heritage, the official beer of HTH. I am your host, Brett Hedges, along for the ride with three of my favorite guys, the creator of the show, the king of crispy, Anthony Gaudette, Mr. Hockey Google himself, Tristan Maguire, and our guest today played over 1,000 games in the NHL, Mr. Andrew Cassels. Thank you very much for joining the show.
Oh, excited to be here.
Perfect. Before we get into it, make sure you guys follow us on all of our social media platforms. Give us a subscription on YouTube. And, of course, support our sponsors because they support us. Use our promo code CRISPYHTH on biosteel.ca to get 20% off your order there. And, of course, use the original promo code HTH Podcast, all uppercase for both of them, to get 10% off your order with Howie's hockey tape there. Mr. Cassels. How's it going?
It's going good. I made the drive up, so
yeah.
All good.
So are you still in Columbus now, or where's home for you?
Yeah, I'm just outside of Columbus, which is about 3.5 hours from here, and have been there since 2002.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The only time I've ever been to Columbus, I had to fly home from Florida, and me and my family didn't get to our flight in time. So I'm like scrambling. I'm like, okay, where can I go that's close? Like, can I fly to Chicago? They're like, no. Can I go here? They're like, no. They're like, what about Ohio? They're like, you can go to Columbus. I was like, deal.
There's not too many connections from there.
No.
So that's why it's a great little airport, but to fly anywhere, you basically have to connect. Everywhere to get somewhere else.
Yes. Your story starts all the way back in Brampton and Bramalea, right? And what was it like growing up in Brampton and playing hockey down just a little south of Toronto?
It was great. I mean, it was a small town back then. Now it's grown quite a bit. I've driven through there a few times, and it certainly has changed. But the great thing is, growing up in youth hockey, you find friends, you grow with them, you go in different directions. But I'm fortunate I have 8 friends that we stay in contact, and 4 of them were through hockey, the other 4 were through each other. And we vacation together with our wives and families, and we try to see each other as much as possible. I try to get up here and play some golf with them in the summertime, and that's a great thing about hockey, I think, in the community. You grow and you create friends at a young age, and a lot of people stay close through their whole lives.
That's the beautiful thing about this game, right? But do you guys have any questions before I ask him about his junior career?
No, go ahead. I was going to say that's a great point to start. There was actually they got the Met JBHL, right? Does that sound right?
So it was the
Bramalea Blues,
it was
right?
The Metro Junior B League, and it was probably, it was the league below the OHL back then. I mean, Henry Carr, St. Mike's, Wexford, Peterborough had a team, Pickering. Like, it was a extremely tough place to play as a 15-year-old, because I remember we had a couple police officers on our team. I think the age was 22 you were allowed to play.
Wow. Okay.
Waterloo Siskins was a powerhouse back then, and we had a couple guys who were bouncers that helped me.
Got guys driving to the game with their wife and kid coming to the car. That's got to be a difficult adjustment when you're 15 years old. But you handled yourself pretty well, it looks like.
Yeah, I think back then it was a little different. You had 2 or 3 guys that were there for one reason, and one reason only was kind of to protect the skilled players. And those were the 2 guys that worked. It was called, you guys might remember O'Toole's, the bar.
Yeah.
So they were bouncers at O'Toole's. So, and then they played hockey on the weekends.
So when you're playing in this Metro League, do you at this point in time think that this is an avenue to the NHL? Like, were there other guys coming out of that league that okay, this could be a route to pro?
Yeah, that was the Bramalea Blues was huge. We had probably 8-9 guys go on scholarships each year from there. I think it was Henry Carr had 14 guys drafted to the NHL out of there, and then went on. I think it was the Cavallini brothers played there, were drafted, and then a lot of guys from there went through college. It was more. It almost seemed like if you were playing for the Bramalea Blues, you were heading towards college.
Okay.
I was probably the first guy, or maybe the second guy, Jamie Jefferson, you might remember, played in Windsor for the Spitfires. Played, and then he came back and played Junior B again after his OHL career. So the avenue was to go to school from our program. I was one of the first guys that went to the OHL, and then it seemed like it grew from there, and more players started going to the OHL from there.
So you're a trailblazer.
I wouldn't say that, but it was. I honestly, I wasn't great at school, or didn't really have a love for school, and didn't really know much about the OHL either. And my dad never played hockey, couldn't skate, came from Scotland and fell in love with the Maple Leafs, and that's how I got into hockey. And it was kind of one of those. It was an opportunity that I got drafted, and Brian Kilrea came to my house, met with my parents, and next thing I knew, I was in Ottawa.
That's awesome.
What was obviously your first year in Ottawa with the 67s? You had very successful. You're a rookie of the year. What was your relationship like with Brian Kilrea that first year? Because a lot of 16-year-olds, sometimes they wilt and sometimes they flourish. Like, what was it for you and him that allowed you to flourish?
Yeah, it was a weird dynamic, because that was the first year Brian came back.
Okay.
From Long Island, and luckily for the 5 rookies, he kind of took to all of us. We had a little bit of mix of everything, with myself being more of a scorer. Then we had Jeff Ballantyne, who was a first-rounder defenseman, kind of from Elmira area, all-round player. Then we had Vern Ray, who was a big 6'5", tough guy, and then 2 underages. So it was kind of a group that I think he knew he was going to have for the next 3-4 years to be his core eventually. And he just kind of took to us and kind of actually let us grow into the players that we all became.
Mm-hmm. Look at the numbers on the kid too, and though, like, holy crow.
Yeah.
92 points, 151 points, 134.
You must have had some fun on
103
Not too
pims
shabby,
there.
eh?
103 pims there.
Yeah, we didn't have a very tough team the one year, and it was, I think that was probably my last year, I think. And it was one of those where now you're you think because you're 19 you can beat up a 16 and 17-year-old.
Yeah.
But I don't want to say I won many fights because I know I didn't. But sometimes you got to stick up for your teammates, and especially being one of the older guys, you definitely want to do that, and then hopefully they grow and realize what they're supposed to do too once they get older.
Yeah, and one of the things too, like, just standing up for the guys and everything goes a long way in the room too. I find it's sometimes you don't necessarily win them all, but the fact of just, like you just said, hopping in there and helping out for the guys that are like younger goes a long way, brings everybody a little tighter, and come on, the fans love a good fight, right?
Yeah, but I think I probably fought more away than home, because I knew I wasn't going to win, so I didn't want to fight at home.
Now, is that something that goes into it where the agency might tell you, like your agent might say, hey, you're drafted now, we want to see this out of you? Or even in your draft year, is there something where the scouts are going to look for a bit of an edge?
You know what? It's weird, because my first year, I wasn't an underage, so
Right.
I was, 17, and it was my draft year that year. So it's a lot harder to come into the OHL and not have any experience or what to expect, and it's your draft year. So I just went out and played and kind of let the game come to me, and if it was something that you had to do that you weren't good at or used to doing, I think you just did whatever you could do to try to win,
Right.
and be a good teammate. I mean, if someone's in trouble, just like I'm sure I was in trouble a lot, and a lot of guys probably jumped in and helped me out too.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
You went 17th overall to Montreal when you got drafted. Was there any like hesitancy about it because you grew up a Toronto Maple Leafs fan? What was the family reaction to getting drafted to Montreal? Was it like, oh wait, no, not to them? Like,
yeah, it was. So I wasn't a Leaf fan.
Okay.
My dad and my brother were huge Leaf fans.
Okay.
I was a Boston Bruins fan. I was a
okay.
Bobby Orr fan.
Not much
Stan
better.
Jonathan, Johnny Bisick, all those guys. Was not a Montreal fan. My dad and brother were not. So my mom and my sisters also came to the draft with my brother and my dad. They went shopping. It was in Detroit, so they went shopping in Detroit. We went to the draft and got selected and went through down and did all the spiel. And then my mom came at the end of the draft. And she's like, okay, so how did it go? And, I said, oh, it was pretty good. Like, I got drafted first round. And she's like, well, who? She doesn't even know where I'm going.
Yeah.
So then I told her it was Montreal. And the first thing she said was, well, your dad's not going to cheer for you. Which I still don't think he grew into a Habs fan. But I think deep down he was probably cheering for me, probably not for Montreal, but for myself.
yeah.
Yeah. How was it walking in for your first game there, just seeing the guys in the room? There's like I'm looking down the list of guys and it's like Hall of Famer, Hall of Famer, Hall of Famer. So how was that? Like, were the nerves kick in? Was it one of those like holy shit moments, like I'm here?
Yeah, it was. So I went to camp twice, and then third time, then I got sent to Sherbrooke in the American League, which was about an hour and a half away from Montreal. So when I got called up, it was basically, I think it was 10 o'clock in the morning, and they're like, hey, jump in your car and drive to Montreal. You're playing tonight. And it was kind of, so you didn't have a whole lot of time to think about it.
Yeah.
So, I got in my crappy car that I had and drove to the hotel, called my parents because no cell phones. Called them, said, hey, I'm playing tonight. So they jumped on a train from Toronto and got to the game on time. But, the old Forum is just, it's a cathedral. And it's, luckily we had camp there, so you kind of were used to it, but not on a game day. It certainly just is a vibe that, especially in the 80s, where people are smoking in there, everyone's in fur coats. It's funny because everybody used to dress up to go to the Montreal Canadiens games.
Yeah.
Like the women were dressed in dresses,
like to the nines.
Yeah, like full regalia. Yeah.
Yes, like you would think they're going to a ball.
Yeah.
And men were in suits, and but there's so much smoke in that arena.
That'd be wild. Trying to play, your eyes are burning.
Yeah, it's funny when you get scratched and you're sitting in the press box, how much smoke is actually there.
Yeah, because everything rises, right? So you're just a big cloud.
It's like, oh, this section's smoking Marlboro Reds. This section's smoking Canadian Classics.
There's players over there. Yeah.
But Andrew, you and Mario Lemieux have something in common because in your first game, first shift, first shot, you score for the Montreal Canadiens. What do you remember about that, and like what kind of a moment was that for you?
Yeah, it was nothing special, I promise you.
They don't ask how you scored. I guess we did.
I was playing with Jocelyn Lemieux, Claude's brother, and Eddie Christoffoli, who I played with in the minors. He had gotten called up the week before me. I don't know how, but he did. But so then we were line mates, and we ended up getting a 2-on-1. I think it was maybe halfway through the second period. We hadn't seen much ice at all, and he had the puck. I knew I wasn't getting it, so I just kind of drove the net, and he took a shot, and I got a rebound, and we scored. So it was a pretty special moment, especially having my parents there, and in my first game and at home, it was great. And then from there, we went to Philadelphia the next day, and we both separated our shoulders. So we're on the plane on the ride home with, I think I separated my left and he had his right, and he was sitting on one side, and we both had ice packs, and we're out for 3 weeks.
Yeah. Well, at least your dad was cheering for you after that first game, right? Because you scored.
I hope so.
Yeah.
And who was that first goal on?
It was Mike Vernon.
Wow.
Hall of Famer.
Yep. So it was a special moment. I mean, it was, there's certain moments in your career, I think, that you you never forget. And then, I mean, there's a lot of moments you remember, but there's certain ones you just never forget. And that's definitely one.
Yeah, that's nuts.
I didn't even realize that you had that injury that early on into your career. So at that point, you're what, 21 years old, 22?
I would have been, so was my first year pro, would have been 20.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Well,
it was 2 games in and then 3 weeks out. And then I played 4 more games when I came back and then got sent back to the American League.
What a different NHL. Separates your shoulder, out 3 weeks. If they did it nowadays, like you're looking, what, 6 to 8?
at
probably?
least.
Yeah.
Yeah. And well, all that to say, though, all the
Like-
more impressive the longevity of your career.
That's what I
That
mean.
early with a shoulder.
That's what I
Shoulder's a
mean.
major injury. But
Yeah, I mean, I say separated, but who knows what they call? They probably called it a sprain
Right.
back then.
Yeah.
but did it ever act up again?
No, I didn't have any problems. I actually was super fortunate through my career with injuries. I mean, I had the odd sprain here and there, but no major surgeries till my last year in Washington, and a fluke accident where it was 4 or 5 days before camp, and we were out skating and got hit in the head with a slap shot and broke, some bones in my face and my skull, and was out missed all of training camp, and then came back and had obviously a concussion and all that stuff. But that was the only really surgery I had during my career, so that was nice.
And it can't be like a knee or anything. It's like your face. It's
Yeah.
like, oh,
Yeah.
the worst. You also got to wear one of the most iconic shirts ever, Hartford. How did you end up there? Was it trade, free agency? Like, how did you end up there?
So after my first year in the minors and up for 6 games, the following year we went to Russia for training camp with Montreal, made the team, came back, played the full season. I think I only played 50 games, scratched 30 times. So I was healthy the whole time. I think I probably played 40 away games and 10 home games. And then my contract was up, and summer came and I was waiting to sign a contract, and they were like, "Oh, we'll give you a 2-way." And I was like, a 2-way? I just played the entire season up kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I think I was making $105,000.
Yeah.
I was only asking for maybe $1.25, not a whole lot, big raise. But so they kept saying no. So I sat out camp, and then I was going to go to Switzerland to play. And deal was done. I was getting ready to leave in a week, and then they traded me to Hartford for a second rounder, which turned out to be Valbury.
Oh,
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
But you had a lot of success in Hartford personally. You ended up getting linked up with Jeff Sanderson. What was that connection like? Because you guys played together later with Columbus. Like, what was it like? Was it just instant fire between you guys, or did it something you guys had to work on?
Yeah, I think it was just one of those where, Jeff was, I mean, you can see it in his son, Jake, too. They were great skaters. And, Jeff was so fast and had a great shot. And I was, considered a pretty good playmaker, I guess. And my job was kind of pretty easy, just get him the puck. And, he loved to score goals, which most goal scorers, they love to score. So, he just flew down the wing, and I'd find him, and he'd walk down an old school slap shot down the wing, 5-hole usually, power it through the goalie standing up. So, and then we became really good friends. And then, whoever they threw on our line, whether it was Kevin Deneen at the start, Pat Verbeek, we just, one of those dirty mucker grinder kind of guys that did a lot of the grunt work for us and got me the puck. Then I got it to Jeff, and he would score. So, but it was a lot of fun in Hartford. I mean, unfortunately, we weren't very successful as a team. My first year, we ended up playing Montreal in the playoffs. We lost in double overtime in Game 7, and that kind of just, everybody got fired. Guys didn't get contracts. They released guys. It was a fire sale, and then, it was just every year there was always something in Hartford that came up, and whether it was coaches, it was, Brian Burke came the one year, was there, and then the start of the season he decided to leave and go to the league.
Okay, yeah.
And
Oh.
then, then we had Pierre Maguire, who wanted to be the GM, and Paul Holmgren was the coach at the time, and so was Pierre Maguire. So then Paul became the GM, Pierre became the coach, and it was just so much stuff went on in Hartford.
I was going to ask about that year because you're probably one of the only guy, one of the few guys that ever had Pierre Maguire as a head coach. For you guys as players, that must have been just a strange season because Paul was the head coach. He was the GM at the same time. He drops being the head coach, stays the GM, makes Pierre the head coach, and then you guys just didn't have a lot of success that year. Did it just seem like it was just, like you said, like just crazy stuff was happening that entire season?
Yeah, it was. I mean, I think Pierre was pretty tight with Richard Gordon, the owner at the time. So Paul, I think, probably knew if Pierre took over the GM job that he would get fired right away kind of thing. So he decided to keep his job and be the GM. And then I think Pierre kind of somehow got in there as head coach, which we were all kind of, to be honest, it was kind of funny because he didn't have any experience.
Right.
He had never been a head coach anywhere.
Yeah, and he'd come from Pittsburgh, which a lot of the guys knew him from there, like Zarley Zalapsky, Johnny Cullen, things like that, they had their own ideas of him. But yeah, he was definitely, I will say though, as an assistant coach, he was unbelievable.
Okay.
Like he worked with the players after practice. He was very good at communicating and, just talking to the guys. Like back then that didn't happen very often. And
Right.
Pierre actually he was really good at it. As a head coach, he had his own thoughts on how we should play, especially against Pittsburgh, because I think he had some animosity against them or towards them. And I remember one game we were playing Pittsburgh, and he came up with this plan that I was going to shadow Mario.
Oh.
Okay.
And I was like, okay. So he calls me in, and he's like, okay, I got a game plan. They'll never expect this. You're going to shadow Mario. I'm like, okay. I'm like, I'm not a defensive specialist, right?
Yeah.
And he goes, yeah, but you've had it done to you before, I'm sure, in junior, or, I'm like, okay, yeah, that makes sense, but that doesn't mean I'm good at it.
Yeah.
But so anyway, so the game starts, and I'm out against Mario, and he's, doing his thing. I mean, it's Mario. I'm like, I don't even know what I'm doing, to be honest.
Yeah.
He's like, just follow him everywhere he goes. I'm like, everywhere? He's like, yeah. So I start following him all over the place, and then he kind of is like looking at me like, why are you so close to me kind of thing all the time, but doesn't say anything. But then he ends up stopping, like, at the red line. Like, the puck is in their zone, but he stops at the red line. So I stop and stand beside him. And he looks at me, he's like, seriously? And I'm like, yeah.
You're my
And
assignment.
he goes, is this Pierre's idea? And I'm like, absolutely. I'm not taking credit for this.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, all right, it's going to be like that. So all game long, he just floated and waited. He still had 1-1.
Yeah.
But even on the power play, I'd go out there and, Mario would set up on, over on the top of the circle there. And we're kind of in the diamond in the box, and they're yelling at me from the bench, go stand beside him kind of thing. And I'm like, it's a power play. And they're like, so what? So I go stand beside him, and Mario just looks at me and he goes, okay, let's go. So he skates out to the center ice, and I'm looking at the bench, and
It's 4-on-3.
they're pointing at me, go. So I go, we stand there, and we just start talking like this out there. And then, of course, you got Kevin Stevens out there, I think, Robbie Brown probably, Ronnie Francis. Their 4-on-3 was better than 5-on-4.
Yeah.
They ended up scoring 4 power play goals. And then after the game, Pierre, in the room, he's like, okay, guys, I know we lost, but can we give it up for Andrew? What a job. I'm like, we lost 7-4. Like, how good a job can this be?
Oh, man.
Yeah, so Pierre had some different ideas on how we definitely played.
Also, that young Hartford team, you were teammates with Chris Pronger for a year as well. He was the first-round draft pick. Then he gets traded for Brandon Shanahan as well. So, like, just kind of like a revolving door of players, and they're making trades kind of just to make trades, it seemed like, at times.
Yeah, we didn't really have, to be honest, any direction or leadership, I don't think. And I think a lot of times Mr. Gordon, being the owner, he was involved a little too much, just and didn't really know, and there was no rhyme or reason for trades or anything like that, and then just the amount of guys that would get called up, it was like the fourth line was just a revolving door. It seemed like we'd have 3 new guys from Springfield every single week kind of thing, and it was great for them to get opportunity, but there was just no direction of where we were going, until the team got sold to the Carmanis family, and Jimmy Rutherford came in, but then obviously we left Hartford pretty much a year later, and unfortunately, feel bad for all the Whaler fans out there, because they were great supporters of the team, and the booster club was it was unbelievable. Like, to even think about there's a booster club. And a couple years ago, I got some letters from them. I think they still exist, and they still meet, and they're still hoping that they'll get a NHL team again.
Franchise back.
And it was a fun place to play. Like, the mall was awesome to play in.
Yes.
And it was fun. Like, it was, the downtown area wasn't awesome, but all the guys lived kind of out in the suburbs, so we had some fun spots that we'd always go to after the game out there, and it was a great place to play. I really enjoyed my time there.
Yeah, anything that I've researched about it, they said that the fan support was always great. Like the rink, it was a fun little nuance, it being attached to a mall.
Okay, I was just gonna say that. Did you say mall?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the visiting team, actually, even when before I went there, Montreal, you stay in the hotel and you actually walk through the mall and then into the arena.
That's crazy.
That's funny.
So yeah, but it was a good setup. I mean, the fans were great. There just wasn't enough of them.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
that's right.
like the 12,000 that supported the team night in and night out were unreal, and it was loud in there. And then they loved their brass bonanza.
Yep. I was
Yeah.
just gonna say that. That's its own spectacle in and of itself.
I remember Brian Burke came in and he took it away, and we played Thunderstruck to come out. 2 weeks later, it was back to brass bonanza because the petition went out, and they wanted it back, and they got it back.
That's incredible.
Now, there would have been a rivalry versus your childhood team playing in Hartford, right? You're playing against the Bruins. Talk about that.
Yeah, that was, you talk about some rivalries, and I mean, going into the old Boston Garden, it was a battle every time, and Cam Neely, was a force. Ray Bork, Glenn Wesley was there. Janney was there at the time. Then Adam Oates came, but Cam Neely he kind of abused some people often. He was he was tough, and it seemed like him and Adam Burt. I felt bad for Adam all the time because he'd pick on Adam, and Adam would have to fight him, and it never turned out very well for Adam. And, but Cam was a tough player to play against. No doubt he was big, strong, and skilled. So, but those battles, were great. Like Pat Verbeek was, the fans hated him in Boston there. Like, he was the rat, and everyone, he was like their Marchand thing. So, but yeah, it was a tough place to play, and, and that building, all those old buildings though were they were
Lewis
fantastic.
too, right?
Like
Iconic.
The Odd in Buffalo, it's Chicago Stadium. Like, I think a lot of people, that follow hockey now, maybe even, some of the kids don't realize that there was other buildings before these big, beautiful buildings, and the locker rooms were, not very nice to go into at all. Like, they were kind of, you had to hit your helmet to get cockroaches out of them and just make sure nothing was crawling around your equipment before you put it on. So it was definitely a little different back then.
From Hartford, you went to Calgary and then to Vancouver. What was your experience like playing in Western Canada? Because you had some pretty sweet line mates when you were in Vancouver specifically. You centered a line with a young Bertuzzi and Naslund. What was that experience like?
Yeah, it was, it was crazy. I bought a house in Raleigh because we were moving.
Yes.
So I moved with the team, and in the summertime, they told us, hey, you guys buy houses or, find places to rent. And it was like, oh, this is awesome. So we went down, ended up purchasing a house. moving truck came, moved everything in. It was out of the driveway. I got a phone call to come down and see Jimmy Rutherford. I got traded and left that night.
Wow.
So didn't sleep one night in the house. Flew to Calgary.
Yes.
And was there for 2 years, which I enjoyed my time. I was good friends with Theo Fleury prior to going there, just through like Team Canada stuff and knowing him throughout playing against him and whatnot. And so he was my line mate for a little bit there. It was great. Then Jerome McGinley came. Got to play with him a little bit. We had some good players in Calgary.
Mm-hmm.
We just weren't very good.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we had a great coach in Brian Sutter, but we just couldn't put it together there. And so then I signed as a free agent in Vancouver, and then had a blast. Playing with Todd and Marcus. I was roommates with Marcus for 3 years, and we had so much fun together. He's such a good person, and Todd is a great guy, and still keep in touch with him.
Mm-hmm.
Him and Brad May, talk to them often, and see them once in a while. So it's and playing with those two guys. I mean, you knew Todd. He was a little younger, and he was going to be, a player to be reckoned with.
Right.
Like, he was just too big and too skilled. Like, his skill level is so high. Like, I think people probably even wonder why he didn't play more physical. He just had so much skill that he was like, I mean, you could see some of the goals he used to score, like even like shootouts and stuff, the stuff he would do, where it was kind of ahead of the time, I think. And, I think he probably sometimes pissed off some of the coaches because they want him to play more straight line and he wanted to be fancy dancy. So, but it was fun. And Marcus obviously was a great player. I mean, you could see he had just come from Pittsburgh, and we still had Messier there. So Marcus hadn't really taken over the leadership role of the team. You could see it was going to be his team eventually once Mark left. And as soon as Mark left, Marcus kind of took over the team, and then with the twins coming, I think that was a great. And then we had Matthias Olin too. So we had 4 or 5 Swedes on the team, and I think it was the right choice to make Marcus the leader.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, did you ever at any point feel pressure going into that market as opposed to the ones you had come from? Maybe because there was more skill there in the past, like Vancouver, they're coming off guys like Alex McGillney and Pavel Bure, and all of a sudden you're the guy centering a first line. What goes into that as opposed to, you're coming from Hartford where there's not so many eyes on you. Now you're in Vancouver, this expansion franchise who's finally seeing success, and you got to carry the weight.
Yeah, it was. I mean, Hartford, we had, one reporter that followed us around, and, there wasn't a whole lot to write about, to be honest, except the turmoil that was going on off the ice kind of thing. So, going to Calgary, and then all of a sudden you're back in that media mecca, kind of like Montreal. Montreal was absolutely crazy, but couldn't really understand half of it because it was in French, so I didn't read too many papers.
Didn't worry about it.
Good or bad, you didn't have to worry about it. Yeah.
So, and then going to Vancouver. Vancouver was, I will say, was a very tough media place to play. It was very hard on the players, and they knew their hockey, and they expected to get a winner. Like, Alex was there my first year, and I got to play with him, and that was so much fun because Alex is just, he's Russian, but he's North American.
Yeah.
Like, he is such a you would never think of him as a Russian player. He is just such a good person, and he's funny. He obviously was an unbelievable player to play with. Like I always say, people ask me who was the best player. He was definitely easily top 3.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just so skilled and so good. But yeah, going there was tough, but it's one of those things you kind of have to just believe in yourself. And if there's negative stuff being written, you just either have to brush it off or just try not to pay attention to it.
Yeah, some of the crowds out there too, like it gets loud, but that's got to like fire you guys up, no?
Yeah, I mean, it's anytime the crowd is involved in a game, especially if it's your home crowd, it certainly amps up your entire mindset, but sometimes it can go against you too, because you're too amped up and you're running around. But it's I remember when we played Detroit in the playoffs the one year, and I mean, I don't know if I'd heard a building louder than I think it was GM Place back then. It would have been 99, 2000, I think. Or it was the year
right in the thick of it.
Yeah, it was the year. The Wings ended up winning the cup. We went up 2-0. We beat them 2 games in Detroit. We came back on the plane, and there was 5,000 people waiting for us. We thought we just won the cup. So we're like, we thought series is over. And then we're up, I think we're up 1-0 in game 3 with like 2 minutes to go in the second, and Lidstrom shot it from his blue line. Yeah. And Dan Kluche just, he just missed it. They tied it up, and then from there it was all downhill. It's like, I think Stevie Yzerman played the broken leg that year in the playoffs, if I remember. So it was, and they had a tough team too. They were good. I mean, McCarthy, Draper, Maltez, they had a shutdown line, then they had a bunch of goal scorers too. So it was tough. But I don't think I've heard a building as loud as that.
Oh, Joe Lewis.
No, this at GM Place.
GM Place, yeah.
When we came back, when we came out that, for warm up and even the start of the game, it was. And then
I think everybody's got the white towels going. Yeah, that's got to be sweet in person.
Yeah, it was pretty neat. I think Roger Nielsen brought that white towel, didn't he?
I believe so.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think it was for cheering. I think it was to give up because of the bad reffing.
Yes, on the top of the stick. Yes, yeah.
Yeah, and I was just realizing you've donned some of the greatest sweaters hockey has to offer, especially when it comes to like logos and branding, like Vancouver especially. Were you there before the rebrand when they had that fade? Like they still had the skate, right?
Yeah, so we had.
He was there with the Orca.
Yes.
So with the fade.
Yes. The tie-dye. We had the tie-dye for our third jersey, and then we had just, just the Canuck on this.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we didn't have the old stick. Would have been nice to
those are beautiful too. Yeah.
Not sure about the black, but the beads.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd like those.
Do you have any stories about Mark Messier? Because I've heard he's a beauty and he's a good leader, but he'll get after some guys too. Did you take anything away from playing with him as a leader that you brought on to other teams after?
Yeah, Mark was, to be honest, when we were in Vancouver, he was pretty quiet. I think he led by example. And he didn't say too much. And then when he did speak, it was very loud, not yelling, but it came across like loud, even though he wasn't shouting. The tone of his voice, you knew you didn't want to disappoint him. So you kind of realized he doesn't say a whole lot, but when he does, it's time to pick it up here. The funny story about Mark though, is he would go through like 75, 80 pairs of skates a year.
That's crazy.
And he sat beside me and he was like, "Hey, did you get new skates?" And I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "You're not wearing them?" I'm like, "No." He goes, "Can I wear them for warm up?" I'm like, sure. I don't think they're going to fit you. I have no idea. So he puts them on. He's like, "Oh yeah, those feel pretty good. You don't mind if I wear them?" And I'm like, I mean, what?
You're going to say no?
Yeah, exactly. Give me a break, right? So I'm
mess,
like, of course. So he wears them. He goes out for warm. He goes, "Yeah, I don't like those." And I'm like, "Well, I wouldn't expect you to like my skates that are molded to my feet." Why would you? But he would wear different skates and right out of the box, sharpen them and just go play. Yeah, I've never seen it before like that.
That's wild.
Guys, I used to wear mine till the trainers would be like, "Bud, you gotta wear your new skates."
Right.
Yeah.
And then you put them on and they feel horrible. But I would wear mine. They were like slippers, like no support at all in them. But trainers loved me because it wasn't costing them much money. But yeah, Mark he would wear different skates, honestly, every day at practice if he could, a brand new pair if he could.
That's wild.
Yeah.
You hear about guys going through a bunch of sticks every year, like McKinnon. I think it's like 300 sticks for Nathan McKinnon, but I've never heard guys going through that many pairs of skates.
Yeah, I mean, sticks, I liked a new stick every game too, but my backups would stay the exact same unless I broke it, but that didn't happen very often either. So, but I did like a new stick.
How many sticks you go through in a game before? What was your highest? 3 or 4 maybe?
So the weird thing was when I went to Calgary, I fell in love. I went back to wood sticks and fell in love with this coho that I had found, but it had styrofoam in the middle and then just a small piece, 4 side pieces of thin I don't even know what it was, more like fiberglass
Yeah,
wood.
I was just gonna say,
It
like
was
a
the
fiberglass,
lightest stick
yeah.
I'd ever used, and I loved it. But I was going through 3 or 4 a game, and the trainers after about a month were like, "Bud, you can't
choose another stick."
And the bad thing was, like, I'd be breaking them in our own zone on face-offs, and then, Brian Sutter's screaming at me like, "Tell him to give him a fucking aluminum stick."
Yeah.
Kid, so you're playing in your own zone.
Right.
No stick.
Again. So,
Yeah.
but that was the greatest. I loved that stick. But they just broke. They were like kindling.
Yeah.
I was just gonna ask, actually, what sticks did you use?
That's
throughout
what
the
I was
years?
just
Like,
gonna ask,
what was
too.
your flex?
Oh God! You know what the funny thing is? I didn't even know about all this stuff. Like, even when I first got traded to Hartford, the equipment trainer was like, "Hey, what do you get your skates cut at?" I was kind of like, normal.
Yeah.
And he's like, huh? And I'm like, I had no idea like 5/8 existed or
Right.
half
Yeah.
inch, or I didn't know any of this, because in Montreal when I went, they told me here's your Furlan gloves because we get paid, so you're using these,
Yeah.
and here's your CCM helmet, here's your Sherwood sticks, and we'll sharpen your skates however we want, basically.
Yeah.
So I never really had a choice of. I mean, I had a curve choice, but other than that, it was you're using the Sherwood. I think it was 70-50, whatever it was. It was like a 2x4, and then it went from there. And then we switched to. I don't know if you remember. Well, I'm sure you guys might know. It was the 2-piece.
Oh,
where
yeah.
It was the honeycomb Easton stick,
Yeah.
and then you put in a blade. And then it was the steel shaft, but we were only given 2 of those shafts for the year. So once you shot so many times, they started to bend a little
Right.
bit. So then we had to take the blade out and flip it upside down, and then just work its way
Work it the
back
other
to-
way.
back to
That's
the
funny.
So yeah, so it was, and Jeff Sanderson hated it because he loved his sticks and it would drive him nuts. So I'm sure there's pictures of players with their with the labels upside down and stuff. And that's why they're upside down.
It's not a reverse image from the
No.
photo. It's they actually.
And you would
actually
think
did it.
too,
it around.
NHL team, they'd just be like, here, have another stick. Like,
Yeah,
you know?
and then after that, I think, God, then when I was in Vancouver, I think that's when the one piece, the Synergy.
Right.
Kind of
Yeah.
Synergies were huge when
Yeah,
we
they
were growing
And
up.
I couldn't get used to it though. It was just, I don't know, it was weird. I don't know if you guys remember Todd Warner.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you know Todd very well.
Yeah, he's from
I
the
thought
area.
he was
Yeah.
from
Todd's
there.
been
Yeah,
on the
I
was
show.
gonna say
Todd's
that,
been on
so-
this show like 2-3 times.
Oh no way! Yeah.
Yeah.
So when
So-
he was in Vancouver with us, or with me, I guess, or the Canucks, and he had, I liked his stick and it had a good curve on it, but I wasn't ready to make the switch, so I would use his sticks, until I actually fell in love with it, which I never did. So I just liked it to bring it home for the summer for my buddies to, to give
Yeah.
them a stick or two. So, but yeah, Todd was a great guy too, and I used his sticks quite a bit during my Canuck days.
Todd, for a long time, was the color commentator for the Windsor Spitfires in town. And now his brother does it now that Todd's in Germany coaching. But I've worked with Todd many times, yeah.
I actually seen him. He was home. He played in that NHL alumni game here in
the one in Lakeshore?
Lakeshore, yeah. I was like, I thought
Yep.
he was. I don't know if he's like home on a break or something, or maybe
Yeah.
he's not there anymore. I don't know, but yeah, I seen him. I was like, Todd's home, because then could be here. Hole in one challenge, man.
That's true. If you look behind you,
Look at that photo.
look at that flow. Was the
Yeah.
mullet just super popular back then? Yours is clean. This
That's
is
like
it's a
the
beautiful
eagle.
mullet.
That's like the eagle.
Yeah, that was. I had that. Since I was in junior, and then that was probably in training camp, my first year pro, because about a month later in Sherbrooke, we had our initiation / rookie parties, and it ended up becoming a complete mohawk. except they left the flow in the back.
Okay.
So it was a pretty sweet. I got a hockey card. It's a Sherbrooke hockey card with the Mohawk in it.
We
That's
gotta
with
find
the
that.
flow. But then I got called up and went through a little bit of initiation again.
Yeah.
And when I was on the table, they decided that the tail had to go.
That time it was gone.
Oh well.
Yeah.
So after Vancouver, you go to Columbus and you reunite with Jeff Sanderson there. What's the story behind you going to Columbus? And obviously it ended up being someplace that you call home now.
Yeah, so I was a free agent again. I'd gone through a divorce, or going through a divorce, and my ex-wife moved back to the Oakville area with the kids. And I limited places that I wanted to play so I could be close to my kids. They were 7 at the time, 5 and 7. So I kind of scratched every West Coast team, anything that was kind of on the east side of Chicago, I was willing to sign with. And, Columbus called and asked if I'd come down. So I said, could I bring my son with me? And they said, absolutely. Mr. McConnell was, first class. He said, we're going to send the team jet up, pick you up. So me and my son flew down, stayed a couple days, went to dinner with Mr. McConnell, went to his house, met his wife. I think Mr. McConnell really appreciated kind of what my family values were. And so we sat down, we were talking, and I explained what I needed as a dad, and as a hockey player. And one of them was that my kids would be coming down to visit me, and, I would like to be able to go see them. And he, said, no problem. He said, we can put in your contract that we'll fly the plane up to get your kids, fly them down for you. So that happened, I think, 3 or 4 times that I had to put in my contract. I should have got more. I should have got a golf membership out of it.
Yeah.
But, you look back. But and just the way that Mr. McConnell, I knew that was the right spot for me right away after meeting his wife and him. And just the type of person he was, that he knew how much it meant to me to have my kids be able to come and see me. And we went home, and pretty much I signed the next day with them because I knew this was the right place for me. And then, a year went by, and I was still going through some financial stuff with my divorce. And after I played in Columbus, it was still going on, even though I was divorced, but the financial stuff wasn't done. And I ended up signing in Washington after the strike, or whatever you want to call it. The entire year was lost. Lockout. And I signed in Washington, and then in January it was just, it was too much. I was flying to Toronto often, and I was trying to get custody of my kids, so I decided to pack it in and go all in with my chips. And then the kids moved to Columbus as soon as I retired, basically. And then they've been my daughter still lives in Columbus. She's 29. And then Cole, my older one, is playing over in Europe. So it was the right choice at the right time for me to call it quits. And, it was the right thing to do.
For sure. During your days in Columbus, you played with a young Rick Nash. And then in your days in Washington, you played with Alex Ovechkin in his rookie year. Yeah. What was it like being around those two really dynamic players? And could you just see at that time that they were going to be something pretty special for their organizations? Yeah,
Rick was, he's from my hometown, and, I'd kind of heard of him. I never knew him prior to, just because I was 35 at the time and he was 18. I think I might have known his parents. I don't know. But when he first came, you could just see, again, he kind of reminded me a lot of Todd Bertuzzi. Okay. Just big, super skilled. We've seen so many goals that he scored. It's insane, some of the goals. And you should see him still when he skates with the alumni skates. He still can do everything. It's like we have to tell him to slow down a little bit because we can't keep up. But yeah, you could tell he was just going to be that guy. He was very quiet his first year, obviously as an 18-year-old, but let us talking, on the ice. He just played hard and competed and was obviously a great goal scorer. And, to be a part of him winning the Rocket Richard, him being on my line, quite a bit, not all the time, because we had Jeff too, but power plays and everything else. So it was a big part of my career to say that I played with a guy who won the Rocket too. I mean, it means a lot to me when my teammates win awards and you're a part of it. So, and then Ovechkin was just, he's Ovi. Like, he was skating with us in the summer before training camp, and you're just like, this guy is gonna be a beast. Like he's a Wendell Clark, except on steroids, to be honest. Like he's just a better goal scorer, I think, maybe, but played hard. Like when he was playing, I was like, he's not gonna last. Like
exactly.
You can't play that way 80 some games.
Yeah, he plays
15
hard.
years. I mean, he still plays pretty hard.
Yeah.
Like when he can. I mean, he slowed down a little bit, but he was just, he's a physical specimen, and he loved to score goals. But I think he actually, honestly, he loves when his teammates score goals. Like you can see it. Like people think that he's selfish and stuff, and it's crazy because I watch him celebrate just as hard when somebody else scores, and it's amazing to me like how people think he's selfish, because he is the farthest person that I would call selfish. And even after I retired, he came to Columbus, and my youngest son was 2, maybe 3. I think it was 3. And, he loved Ovi. Like, he had the yellow laces in his skates. Even though he could barely skate, he had yellow laces, had the string hanging out from his pants. And he just was Ovi, had all Ovi shirts, everything. So when they came to Columbus, I said, do you want to go down to the pregame skate? And he's like, nah, I don't think so. And I'm like, well, Ovi's going to be there. He's like, yes, I'll go. So we went, and I saw Alex, and Cruz got pictures with him in the locker room. He gave him a stick, and I signed his jersey for him, and it was just one of those moments that it was awesome.
Yeah.
You must have been super proud of him when Washington finally won the Cup. What is it like seeing a guy coming in as a rookie and then have to do things the hard way and then finally win the Cup when they did? Because they went through it was a pretty long stretch for him.
No, it was. I think I was more excited watching him after the Cup with the parties.
I think we were all entertained by that.
Swimming in the fountain.
He'd not suck anymore.
But that shows his, what kind of person he is. Like he's just a fun-loving big Russian bear kind of thing. He had so much fun after, which he deserved it. The entire team did. But it was one of those. There's certain guys you play with that you hope to get a chance to raise the cup, and he was definitely one of them because he plays hard. He's a great teammate. He does a lot of the right things, great in the community. Obviously the fans and the ownership love him. And to last in the same organization nowadays is really hard. So
that's true.
Him and Crosby, I think, are probably the longest reigning
I would say,
players with their same organization, which I don't think either of them are going anywhere. So I'm sure
Now
they might lead the way for sure.
So I'm thinking back. Was that Ovechkin's rookie year that he scored that goal versus Phoenix?
Yeah,
were you there for that?
Believe it or not, I was injured. I was in Phoenix. I was sitting on the trainer's table watching it. We were all there. Was 2 or 3 of us, and we were like, "Did that just happen?" Did he really just?
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty special. It was obviously still one of the greatest goals ever, I'm sure.
Yeah, and Wayne's coaching Phoenix too, and he's looking up at the screen going. That's awesome.
And it has to be nuts for you too, because you see him as a rookie, and then now he's the greatest goal scorer in the history of the NHL. So that's got to be wild for you too.
You taught him everything he knows, right?
He could always shoot the puck though. That's the thing, right? And even teams know the setup on the power play, and it's like you still can't stop his shot. It's coming, and it's just and I think now he's even gotten better at it. Now he knows. He's a good passer too, though. That's the crazy. It's kind of like Brett Hull, right? Everybody knew he's got a great shot, but Brett Hull was, I think, one of the best passers that I ever played against too. I mean, he didn't have to pass it that often because he's the guy getting the puck to shoot it, but I mean, there's a lot of great passes Brett Hull's made, that you see highlights from, and Ovi's the same way. If he doesn't think he can score, he's not the guy who's just going to shoot it just because he should.
One of the things too I love, I always ask is, I always say on the show, I've said it several times about the game within the game, and it's guys chirping at you on the ice or whatever. Who's that one guy that would just like you would laugh at, or whoever, who was just really funny on the ice?
Oh, there's obviously Sean Avery. That guy was just like, you're like, just shut up. But then he did have some, as long as it wasn't towards me, then I would laugh, and it was funny, which he didn't really chirp me too often, or that I remember. I probably didn't even pay attention. But he would chirp guys, and some of us on the bench would just like, you have to like just put your head down and kind of chuckle, so that just in case the camera's on you, you're not laughing. But he was definitely a yapper. Todd was a pretty good. He liked to talk a lot. Bertuzzi too. On the Brad May was a pretty big talker.
Wow.
Trying to think guys that I mean, Kelly Chase was great. Stu Grimson was the best.
Yeah.
In Hartford, he would just sit on the boards, and as guys skated by, he would just chirp them. And when you got a guy 6'5" sitting on the boards, you're probably not going to say a whole lot.
What are you going to
That's
say?
a one-way conversation.
When the guy's nickname's the Grim Reaper, you're like, nah.
That was when it was funny, because he's on your team and nobody wants to respond to him.
Yeah.
That's when that's okay to laugh at.
Yeah.
For sure.
Over 1,000 games, 1,015 to be exact. How proud are you of the fact that you were able to eclipse 1,000 games and all the numbers that you put up during your career? When you look back at it, you must be pretty damn proud, Andrew.
Yeah, I think it's one of those. When you're getting close to playing, you hope to play a game, and then once you get that first one, you hope to last a year, and then once you get past 2, you hope. Back then it was, if you played 400 games, you'd get a jacket, like a black leather jacket.
Yeah.
And that's what you wanted. And then, to be able to play 1,000 games, I look back and it's not easy. I mean, there's not a whole lot of guys who have done it, and you have to be lucky. You got to stay healthy. You got to be a good teammate. There's a lot that goes into it than just being a good hockey player, I think. So it's a big accomplishment for me, and I'm very proud of it.
Absolutely. And of course you stayed in Columbus after that, and for the last 8 or 9 years, I believe, you've been part of the Learn to Play program with them. And from my research, I've found out that what started as a really small program has ballooned to like almost 4,000 kids playing in the Columbus area. How proud are you to be part of that growth and to see those kids developing and getting a shot to, there's a handful of them that are in the NHL now.
Yeah, it's, when I first retired, I think I took 2 weeks off and then jumped into coaching AAA right away. When my son came back from Washington with us, there was a spot. Started coaching there with, I don't know if you remember Darcy Cahill at all. He used to play for Kingston and started in North Bay, played a little pro, was Vancouver Canucks draft pick. He was in the area. And then actually the guy who assisted on my first career goal, believe it or not, was coaching the team, was living in Columbus, Ohio. And we reunited, and then we coached together for 4 or 5 years after that through the AAA program. And then 8 years ago, I just the Blue Jackets came to me and asked if I wanted to be a part of this program that the league and the players were putting together. And we started off fairly small, just 2 sessions a year with about 120 kids in it. And then going on our 5th year now, we took over all of the rinks, Learn to Plays, and now we have 5 sessions a year with 800 kids in it a year, each session. So times 5, talking over 4,000 kids going through the program a year. And it's kind of blowing up our house league hockey because the way we did it in Columbus was there's a requirement to play house league hockey is you have to go through the Learn to Play Hockey 1, 2, and 3 series so that you have at least a base of skating and a little bit of stick skills and just kind of understand the concepts of what you have to do when you're playing hockey.
Yeah, you got to have a baseline.
Yeah, so it certainly helps the volunteer coaches out in the house leagues that at least these kids have a base and can stand up and move around and play hockey. So it's been a lot of fun, and we've seen the growth is since we started it. It's 136%. We just went over the numbers a couple weeks ago, and it's definitely blowing up. And we don't, believe it or not, you guys will probably laugh at this. We have 3, 5, 7, 8 sheets of ice in Columbus.
Well, that's what Lee was telling us a couple weeks ago. Yeah, and the Jackets own all the rinks, but you guys are running out of ice time. So the need for for more rinks is there, right?
Yeah, and as we all know, rinks are great, but you need ice from 5 o'clock to 9 o'clock.
Yep.
Because the kids can't, even for our program, I need ice from 5:45 till 7:15 tops because we're dealing with 5 to 10-year-olds and they can't be out at 10 o'clock at night and we can't do it too early because parents got to get home from work and drive them. So it's a very small window that our program needs, which is a big program. We have 25 classes a week. So it's taking up a lot of ice. And then our house league hockey is growing so big. Again, they can't be practicing after 9 o'clock at night. So it's definitely the need is there, and the numbers show it. So I don't know where we're going to go because there's no talk in anyone else building a rink except our AAA program has been talking about it for 4 years, and it's just a matter of time that's going to happen. But that's still 2-3 years out.
Yeah.
So now what about your kids? Because they're all over. You're obviously here playing hockey. We have Burke here now in Essex, who's been sensational since he's been
Burke
here.
Wall, man.
Yeah, he's been awesome. So where's everybody? Does everybody play, and where's everybody playing?
Yeah, so obviously Burke is here.
Yeah.
Loving it in Essex. Ownership. It's such a great place to play for someone. Playing junior C hockey. They treat the kids awesome. They make them feel special. Just with the amount of trainers they have and skate sharpening and laundry, and that stuff doesn't happen everywhere. And Burke he's really fallen in love with the area and the community. So we couldn't be happier for him to be here and be in a fun environment. And it helps when your team is pretty good. And as a goalie dad, growing up, he hasn't had great teams, so his numbers have never been great. And even when he played junior before here, his numbers weren't great. And to have a team that actually takes care of their end and plays the right way, it makes his job a lot easier. And he just has to make the saves that are actually he's supposed to make. So he's here. Cruz is my 09, so he's 16. He was drafted by Barrie, and then they asked him if he would play U18 in Barrie. So he was living up there playing in Barrie, and then at Christmas time I decided that it wasn't quite what my expectations were for his development. So we moved back to the Columbus area, or he did, and he's playing U18 in Columbus now, which I think is better for him. I coached the team last year, so I know the guy who's coaching it this year is very detailed and runs it like he's getting kids ready for the next level.
That's perfect.
And they're on the ice Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then they leave Friday usually for a weekend game. So he's 6-7 times. Wow. Yeah, so it's great. And then Cole, my oldest one, who won the Memorial Cup
with
in
Oshawa.
Which was one of, that was such a proud moment for me. And it's funny because I just had my hip replaced the night before.
Oh.
And they won. It was an emergency hip replacement, and so they won. Then they were playing in the finals, so I came out of surgery, and then my wife drove 20 hours to Quebec City, and I sat in the car, and we got out every hour to do a lap around the car for blood clots and that, and then watched the game, and then couldn't get an elevator to get on the ice, so I was just like, I'll walk down the stairs. So I kind of hobbled down the stairs, and we got on the ice with him and celebrated with him, and that's one of those memories that you'll never forget again. And I was so proud of them on how that team won. They did not have a superstar. Like, that's just shows you, like, you can win championships without having the best player or one of the best players or the best player. I mean, they had good players, don't get me wrong, but they did not have a guy like, Cirelli was there, but he was a third line checker. Yeah. Like, he wasn't what he is today. And, Cole was a good player, but he wasn't like, 75 goal. It wasn't a McDavid or a Draisaitl. And, Draisaitl was playing for, I forget who was there.
I think he played for the
Western, whoever the West was representing. Kelowna? I think it was Kelowna.
Yeah, the Rockets, yeah.
Kelowna was there. And then McDavid they beat in the finals. So, that was great. So he's been playing pros for 10 years now, and, kind of a little bit all over. He's played in the American League for a while. Then he went over to Germany for a year, came back, played on a couple other teams in the American League, then decided to go to the KHL. In Russia, and came back, and now he's in Slovakia. So it's he's had, I tell him, though, I'm like, what an adventure you've had. Like, are you making $10 million a year? No, but life's an adventure, I keep telling him, and you have gone to places. He's been to so many places in Europe that are so exciting to me that he's been to, because I want to go there, and he gets to do it pretty easily when he's over there. So, so all the kids are doing good and just kind of grinding away and doing lots of travel to see them.
Love it.
You mentioned coaching a bit when it comes to AAA and programs like that. Has it ever, passed through your thought of getting back into professional coaching, maybe? Is that something that you see in your future when it comes to even the minor system or maybe professionally?
Yeah, I don't know. At 56, I don't know. I'm getting tired of that. But I did coach. I coached in the East Coast League for a year with Cincinnati. Loved it. That it's a different league when you're a coach there, because you have to do an awful lot of other things besides just worrying about practice planning and who's going to be in the lineup and who's not. There's so much that goes on coaching in the East Coast League, or at least when I was there. I really enjoyed my time. I coached at Ohio State for the women's hockey program for a year, and loved coaching the women. They were great. It was a lot of fun. Actually coached with Nadine Muzzerall, who is a Streetsville she grew up in Streetsville, Ontario, and we just connected in Ohio and coached there for a year. And like Emma Maltez, who's on the Olympic team, played there. I think there's 5 or 6 girls that are in the women's pro league now. So that was a fun time. I would have stayed there and coached for a long time, but it was a lot of work for my wife, because I still had the 2 playing AAA.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was
you're a
coaching
dad
at
as
Ohio
much as you're
State, so I
coaching.
had my own schedule, and she had 2 schedules to deal with while working full time. So it was kind of like, it just didn't work out. Bad timing, but that's something I would always look to go back to. Yeah. I mean, if someone phoned and asked, I would certainly listen and talk to them. But
Pause for thought.
It's just coaching. People don't realize how much time you spend on everything.
Yeah.
I mean, being a player is easy. You come to the rink, they tell you what to do.
Right, yeah.
As a coach, you got to figure out what to do. Where, if you're a player, it's, you want me to lift weights? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you want me to ride the bike? Okay. Oh, you want me to practice? Okay.
Yeah.
You want me to take a nap? No problem. Oh, I'm supposed to eat now? Got it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the hard part when you retire, is nobody's telling you what to do anymore.
Right.
So
Yeah,
it's like,
the strict schedule, right?
I do, yeah. So, I mean, I love coaching. I loved coaching youth hockey. trying to develop players, and just get them to where they want to get to. So it's kind of fun to see kids move on now that you've coached, whether it's just to junior or maybe it's now they're in college, and some of them are in pro. So Kiefer Sherwood played. I coached him for 5 years.
No way.
He played with Cole in AAA all the way up. Jack Rozovic, I skate him in the summers all the time, and it's funny. Before he signed with Edmonton, we're on the ice together every day. Yeah. Just the two of us, and just it's a small world. Same thing before he signed with Winnipeg. I'd skated him before Winnipeg traded him to Columbus.
Right.
So, there's Sean Corrali, Connor Murphy. I mean, we have a pretty good group of guys that come back in the summer, and we have about 12 or 13 alumni that live in Columbus, believe it or not, that for some reason everybody wants to come back to Columbus.
Yeah, well, what made that the attractive market for you? Like, you went to Washington and then you go back. What made you take up roots in Ohio?
That wasn't my first choice. My first choice would have been Florida.
Well, there you go.
My wife is from about an hour outside of Columbus in a farming community, and we had just started having kids, and moving somewhere where you don't have help, it's probably not the smartest thing. So grandma and grandpa were close by. My daughter was living in Columbus, and Cole, was enjoying playing in Columbus, the AAA program. So, it's such a great place. Like,
it's everything that we've heard. Yeah.
The golf is great. Nightlife downtown, it's growing so much over the years. Like, in 20 years, it's a completely different city. Like, most cities that are big cities have just changed. So there's just lots to do, and it's a safe place. So it's home.
We need to get down there.
Yeah, that was the plan. Last year. Yeah,
thanks, Lee.
Yeah.
Well, I went a couple of years ago to watch the Stadium Series
right.
between. Actually, last year Stadium Series between the Wings and the Jackets. So Jackets ended up winning. It was a great game. It was tied in the third period. So, but like you said, nightlife in the downtown.
Yeah,
it's good fun, right? It's safe, and like you said, everyone was respectful at the game. For you've got 20,000 people in this building. Everyone was respectful. Maybe opposing sides weren't so much, but when you get up in the nosebleeds, what else do you expect? But I think it stands to reason that I understand why you stayed there. It's a beautiful city.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, to be honest, the golf courses are phenomenal there. Like, they really are. And
we're going in the summer.
We have the Memorial Tournament. That's a great time to come down to the Memorial Tournament.
Okay.
The PGA Golf Tournament is that's a week of just non-going partying, and people love it. So many people from out of town come to it because, one, it's Jack's tournament.
Yes.
So it's and a great golf course to watch on. It's they do it right and do it all first class. So it's a great place to live.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think we've taken enough of your time. Aunt Tristan, anything else before we let this man go watch his 73s game?
No, this has been great.
Just thank you so much for taking this time. Obviously, it's quite the drive for you just to come watch your son, who we're very grateful to have here in Essex. But we're thankful for your time, not just in your playing career, but also being a good father and a good player and a good man. So thank you, sir.
No, I appreciate you guys. The great thing about youth hockey and junior hockey and everything, we still need people like you guys too that, love going to the games and commentating and just being a part of that community. It never gets old, I don't think. And once you're in it, you can't get out of it. It's too hard. Right? We all somehow
true words have never been
stuck
spoken.
in the spider web, and it's part of us, right? It's the culture that we love, and it's so much fun to be around and just be a part of.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Well, thank you again, Mr. Andrew Cassels. Over 1,000 games in the show. Of course, he's at the Learn to Play program in Columbus as well. So if you're in the area, make sure you get involved. From all of us here at the Hat Trick Hockey Podcast, Aunt Tristan, myself, thanks again, Andrew, and we'll see you next time on the Hat Trick Hockey Podcast. Good night.
I've lost my fight with time. My numbers up and up the line. I gaze at this darkness, so empty, just looking for the light. Shout for help, but no one's there. Need a guiding hand, someone who cares. All alone in the darkness, I've realized for the first time I am scared. If I could do it all again, if I had one more chance, my friend, I would rewrite all my wrongs. I would find where I belong. I got lost along the way. I had so much more to say. If I could do